Welcome to Shredder Fanfic. Like, subscribe, and hype video. Join members to gain early access to new videos.
The main character, after dying in his previous life, he wakes up inside of the fox and the hound, and he wakes up as a wolf. What is a wolf gonna do inside of the fox and the hound?
Asterisk Chapter 1. A Tuesday that ended asterisk. Elias woke before the alarm because the apartment radiator had started its uneven clatter again. He lay still for a moment, watching grey light gather across the ceiling, and listened to the ordinary sounds of a building beginning its day. A shower ran 2 floors above him. Someone dropped a pan. A bus sighed at the curb. Nothing in the morning asked to be remembered. He made coffee, burned the first piece of toast, and answered 3 messages while standing beside the kitchen counter. His supervisor wanted a file corrected before lunch. His sister wanted a photograph of the old family recipe. A neighbor had left a note about a package in the lobby. Elias handled each small request with the same patient attention he gave to most things, even though he had slept badly and felt a headache settling behind his eyes. At work, the day passed in screens, fluorescent light, and the quiet scrape of chairs. Elias helped a new employee find a missing form and stayed late to fix a billing error that was not his fault. He did not receive thanks in any grand way. The employee gave him a relieved smile. That was enough to make the extra hour feel less empty. On the way home, he stopped at a convenience store for soup and batteries. A man outside dropped a paper bag when the wind caught it. Elias picked up the rolling cans and carried them to the bus shelter. The man laughed at himself. Elias laughed too. It was the sort of exchange that would vanish from memory by the next week. Rain began as he crossed the last intersection. The signal changed. Elias stepped forward, then saw a car slide through the turn with its tires angled wrong. He moved toward the curb, not away from the person in its path. The impact came with a hard flash of sound and pressure. The soup spilled. The batteries skittered across the pavement. There was no hidden door, no voice from beyond the world, and no final explanation. There was only rain, the blurred red of a signal, and the sudden understanding that an ordinary life could end in the middle of an ordinary errand. Elias tried to breathe. The streetlights smeared into pale bars. Then the noise withdrew, and Tuesday ended. Elias' sister learned about the accident from a police officer who kept glancing at a small notebook, as though the right sentence had been written there. She arrived at the hospital wearing mismatched shoes. The waiting room smelled of disinfectant and old coffee. A television in the corner played a cooking program with the sound turned off. Someone had placed Elias' wallet, bent glasses, and the keys from his apartment inside a clear plastic bag. She held the bag without opening it. What happened? The officer explained the intersection, the sliding car, the stranger in the crosswalk. Elias had moved toward the stranger instead of away. That detail did not surprise her. It also did not make the loss feel noble enough to bear. He always does that, she said. The officer misunderstood. Helps people. Moves first and thinks about himself later. She sat down hard. The man came to the apartment with a bag of groceries and stood awkwardly beside the radiator Elias had complained about every winter. I didn't even see the car. She looked toward the kitchen. Elias did. I don't know why he. Neither do I. That was the truth. No hidden destiny made the choice simpler. Elias had seen danger and moved. The man set the groceries down. Soup, batteries, the same 2 things Elias had gone out to buy. His sister laughed once and covered her mouth. The sound became tears. The man stayed until they stopped. After he left, she found the family recipe request still unanswered on Elias' phone. She opened the thread and stared at her own message asking for a photograph. The recipe card was in the top kitchen drawer. She photographed it herself. She laughed again. That was the version of him she wanted to keep. Not the body in the intersection. A man who burned toast. a brother who fixed billing mistakes that were not his, someone who complained about salt. The apartment was emptied slowly. His supervisor came for one box of work files and apologized 3 times for asking. The new employee, Elias, had helped send a card. The neighbor from the lobby took the radiator key and said the building would finally replace the valve. Small consequences. No monument. The person Elias saved returned once more before moving away. He brought no groceries. Only a paper bag containing the batteries that had rolled into the gutter and been collected with the accident debris. I thought maybe you wanted them. Elias' sister turned one over. Ordinary alkaline battery. Scratched casing. Worth almost nothing. Yes, she said. She kept one. The other went into the smoke detector. Months later, when it chirped at 2 in the morning, she woke furious and then started laughing in the dark. That did not mean Tuesday was all that remained. A year after Elias died, his sister finally replaced the radiator. The building superintendent had promised for months. When the new unit went in, the apartment became quieter. She hated it. The old clatter had been irritating enough that Elias complained every winter. Without it, mornings felt too smooth. She kept his mug anyway. Not on a memorial shelf. In the cabinet with the others. Sometimes guests used it by accident. The first time, she nearly stopped them. Then didn't. The man Elias had saved sent a holiday card. No dramatic gratitude. A photograph of himself with his wife and a newborn daughter. I still think about that night. She put the card in a drawer. At first, that felt like betrayal. Then she understood memory did not remain accurate through force. She remembered his laugh, his burnt toast, the way he corrected recipes, the annoyed noise he made when email threads grew too long. Those things survived without dates. Somewhere impossibly far from the city, Ash would eventually learn the same lesson about Todd, copper, old hollows, and paths reclaimed by weather. A life did not remain meaningful by freezing every trace in place. Asterisk Chapter 2, The Shape of Hunger Asterisk. Cold woke him. It pressed through damp earth and touched every part of a body that felt too small to belong to him. Elias tried to lift an arm and found a narrow leg. He tried to speak and produced a thin, broken cry. Panic arrived before thought. He rolled against a wall of roots. Four brushed his nose. The smell of wet soil filled his head with such force that he jerked backward. His ears caught a dozen sounds at once. Dripping water, a wing beating in leaves, tiny feet beneath the ground, and his own heart racing. The world had become painfully close. By evening he had found a strip of dry ground beneath a fallen trunk. He dragged dead leaves into a shallow nest and curled around himself. Fear kept him awake. Each unfamiliar smell became a possible threat, yet the dark also carried warmth, water, and the faint promise of food. Near dawn, a new sound drifted from far beyond the trees, a quick burst of childish laughter, followed by a sharper bark and the rush of running feet. Ash froze. He did not understand the sound, and he did not follow it. He lowered his head and waited for daylight. The next morning taught Ash that hunger had layers. The first layer hurt. The second made every moving thing look edible. The third made judgment begin to disappear. He reached that third layer before finding the stream. A frog moved beneath moss. Ash pounced too early and hit water nose first. The frog vanished. He sneezed until his ribs hurt. No one laughed. For some reason, that made the failure worse. He followed the stream downstream and found minnows trapped in a shallow pool. His paws were too clumsy to catch them. His teeth snapped on water. He stopped. Watched. The fish moved away from shadow before they moved away from teeth. So he placed himself upstream and waited until the cloud covered the sun. Then struck. 1 minnow. Barely enough. He ate it whole. The body demanded 5 more. Ash forced himself to leave the pool after 3 because his splashing had already changed the water and attracted a heron. The bird landed 30 paces away. Too large for him. Its long beak made the answer obvious. Ash backed into brush. The heron took the fish he had failed to catch. That irritated him. It also taught a useful lesson. Food did not become his merely because he had found it first. The forest had no contracts, only timing. He spent the day learning his new body honestly. His nose reached farther than sight. His ears turned towards sounds without permission. His tail changed balance when he ran. His paws spread over mud and failed on wet stone. Reach with a hand. Grip a branch. Every instinct had to be translated. He tried climbing a low slope by thinking like a man and slid backward. He tried again by watching how his paws naturally angled. By evening, he had learned that scratching behind one ear required an embarrassing amount of coordination. That discovery made him laugh. The sound came out as a breathy bark. He froze, then did it again, deliberately. Not human laughter. Still his. The name Ash settled more firmly. He did not reject Elias. Elias was not gone inside him. But calling himself Elias while trapped in a wolf pup's body made every movement feel like a mistake. Ash belonged to this shape. Elias belonged to memory. Near sunset, the distant laughter came again. Fox. Dog. Young. Playing. Ash followed only far enough to identify direction. He stopped when human scent entered the wind. Smoke. Leather. Chicken feed. He crouched beneath fern and listened. The dog barked. The fox made a sharp yip. Then a woman's voice called from far away. Come back. Ash flattened instinctively. The sound was human and familiar enough to hurt. For 1 second, he wanted to run toward it simply because someone had spoken words he understood. He did not. A human voice did not mean safety. Not anymore. He returned to his fallen trunk. The leaf nest had collapsed under morning rain, so he rebuilt it with pine needles and bark strips. It was warmer. He had learned. That mattered. At night, the temperature dropped. Ash curled his nose beneath his tail. The body knew the position before he did. He dreamed of his old apartment. In the dream, the radiator clattered. When he woke, it was a woodpecker striking a dead tree. The loss came sharp and complete. No sister. No kitchen. No phone. No way back. Then he rose. Hunger had returned. The forest did not pause because he remembered being human. Ash stepped into the wet morning and followed the scent of beetles. Ash's first sunrise as a wolf was almost beautiful enough to make him forget that he was terrified. Mist lifted from the ground in slow bands. Every spiderweb held silver drops. The air tasted different with each breath because scent arrived in layers his human memory had never possessed. He followed a mouse trail through wet leaves and lost it beneath a root. Instead of rushing, he sat and let his nose work. Warm fur. Damp soil. Old mushroom. Mouse. The trail returned. Ash crept forward, one paw at a time. His hind leg slipped. The mouse vanished. He did not chase. That restraint felt like the first decision made by the wolf body and the human mind together. Later he found berries. Some smelled sweet, Others smelled bitter enough to stop him before tasting. He ate only what birds had already been using nearby. The rule was crude, but it reduced risk. At midday, he discovered his reflection in a clear pool. A small grey pup stared back. Ash touched the water with one paw. The face broke into ripples. He had expected grief. Instead, he felt distance. Elias' face existed only in memory now. Trying to preserve it through refusal would not change the muzzle, the ears, or the body that needed food before dark. Ash lowered his head and drank. He spent the afternoon learning how far his hearing reached. A squirrel moved farther than sight. A woodpecker struck a trunk somewhere uphill. A cart rolled on the distant human road, metal rattling before any wheels became visible through the trees. The world had become larger and more intimate at once. By sunset, Ash knew the safest path to water, 2 places to hide from large birds, and 1 hollow he would never use because Fox scent there was too fresh. That night, the distant laughter came again. This time, he heard enough to separate the voices clearly. A fox. A young hound. No fear in either. Ash lay under the fallen trunk and listened until the sound faded. For the first time since waking, the forest contained something besides hunger and danger. It contained the possibility that another animal might know his voice someday. Chapter 3. Rain, Beetles, and Distance. Rain taught Ash that a wolf pup could drown without ever entering deep water. The storm filled the hollow beneath a cedar, washed away the beetles he had been following, and turned the earth into a slick sheet beneath his paws. He crawled out because the hollow began to fill and found a world made of smells too large to understand. Water carried rotting leaves, deer, fox, wet stone, and the sharp iron scent of a road beyond the trees. Ash lowered his nose, sneezed, and startled at the sound. His ears moved before he decided to move them. A beetle crawled over a root. He heard its legs. A bird shifted in a branch far above him. He felt the air change before it flew. Hunger made the lesson urgent. Ash chased the beetle, missed, and slid into the mud. He found a dead vole beneath the fern and swallowed too quickly. A thorn caught his lip. He whimpered, then forced himself to chew slower. No mother would correct him. The forest corrected everything. At dusk he found dry ground beneath a fallen trunk. He scraped leaves into a hollow and curled around himself. Something large moved beyond the brush. Ash froze until the scent separated into deer, old bark, and fear that belonged to the deer rather than him. He had no pack to warn. He had only his own nose, ears, and a body too small to defend either. When sleep came, he dreamed of rain on pavement and woke with the name Ash in his mouth. He did not know whether he had chosen it or found it. He accepted the sound because a lone pup needed something to answer when the woods called. The rain stopped, but the forest kept speaking. The storm lasted long enough to change the map of Ash's small world. The shallow pool where he had drunk disappeared beneath brown runoff. The fallen trunk shifted downhill. A deer trail became a stream. Ash learned that territory was only stable between weather. He spent the morning moving his sleeping place higher. The work was ridiculous in a body with no hands. He dragged bark with his teeth, pushed leaves with his forelegs, carried moss in his mouth, and spit half of it out after discovering a beetle nest inside. By midday, he had a shallow shelter beneath roots. Not dry. Drier. That counted. A raccoon found it at dusk. The animal was larger than Ash, broad through the shoulders, and offended by his existence. It approached with deliberate confidence. Ash backed into the roots. The raccoon hissed. He growled. The sound that came from his chest surprised him. So did the raccoon. For one heartbeat, both believed the other might be more dangerous than expected. Then the raccoon advanced. Ash fled through the second gap between roots he had accidentally left while building. Ash emerged behind the tree and ran. He lost the shelter. He kept his skin. Another lesson. A home with one entrance belonged to whatever stronger animal reached it. He slept badly under brush. The next day, he went back after the raccoon left and studied the den. 2 exits. He did not reclaim the hollow. He found another place. The storm also brought scents from farther away. Fox, hound, chicken, human, and wolf. The last stopped him. Faint, old, adult, not near. Ash stood in rain, with his nose lifted until the trace vanished. His body reacted before his thoughts did. Tail low, heart quick, a pressure in the chest that felt like recognition and fear together. Another wolf existed somewhere beyond the ridge. He wanted to follow. He did not. He had too little information. Waiting felt cowardly. Then Ash remembered every stupid death people caused by calling patience fear. He stayed. That evening, he hunted insects beneath logs. A centipede bit his tongue. He learned not everything under wood deserved eating. A field mouse nearly escaped because he chased movement rather than scent. He corrected. One small meal. Then another. By the third night, hunger no longer controlled every decision. He had enough reserve to think. That changed the forest. Before, every sound had meant food or danger. Rain on leaves. A squirrel too far. The distant fox and hound laughing again. Ash began recognizing their voices. The fox yipped in quick bursts. The hound barked deeper, then broke into puppy whines whenever excited. They passed closer one afternoon. Ash hid. Through fern, he saw red fur flash. Then talon black hound legs. Young. Smaller than the farm dog he had smelled before. The fox stopped near a mushroom. The hound crashed into him from behind. They rolled. Neither bit seriously. Playing. Ash felt a strange ache. Not because he wanted their food. Because they had each other. He remained hidden until they left. That night, loneliness became more difficult than hunger. He had spent days telling himself solitude was safer. It was. Safety did not make it painless. Ash lay with his head on his paws and listened to rain. The forest spoke in thousands of small noises. None answered him. By morning, he made a decision. He would not approach the human yard. He would not follow blindly. But if the fox and hound came into the woods again, he would let them see him. Not because he needed a pack. He told himself that. Only because information was useful. The lie lasted until breakfast. Ash's first encounter with another predator happened beside the flooded trail. A fox, older than Todd and far less interested in play, stepped from the brush with a mouse hanging from its jaws. Ash froze. The fox froze. Neither animal owned the path. The mouse belonged to the fox because it already held it, yet hunger tightened Ash's stomach hard enough to make the situation feel like an argument. The fox lowered its head. Ash backed away first. The fox left. No fight. No injury. No victory. Ash stood in the rain after, and understood that survival often depended on accepting that another creature already had something he wanted. Later that day, he found beetles beneath bark and a nest of grubs inside rotten wood. The meal was unpleasant and enough. The lesson settled deeper than pride. Hunger did not grant ownership. Strength did not grant ownership. Being present first did not grant ownership. The forest had no written law, but repeated encounters created boundaries that worked because most animals preferred another meal tomorrow to a wound today. Ash began practicing that instinct. When deer crossed, he watched. When raccoon approached his old shelter, he moved. When coyote's scent appeared on a carcass, he circled wide. These decisions made him feel less heroic and far more alive. At dusk, he returned to the ridge where he had seen Todd and Copper from hiding. Their scent remained faint. Ash did not approach the farm road. He sat under fern and listened to the two young animals play. Todd's quick yips, Copper's bark, a tumble through leaves. Ash felt the same ache as before, but this time he identified it without pretending. He wanted company. The admission did not force action. It simply made the next day's choice honest. When Todd and Copper returned to the woods, Ash would step out where they could see him. Until then, he kept learning how to live long enough to meet them. The first human fire Ash saw from the forest nearly pulled him toward the road. Smoke reached him before light. Wood smoke, not the bitter chemical smell from his last human memory. It carried fat, coffee, wet wool, and something sweet cooking over flame. Ash's stomach tightened. He followed the scent through ferns until voices became distinct. Two hikers had made a small camp beneath a rock shelf. One sat beside the fire while the other boiled water. Their packs rested against a tree. A dog slept between them, older and brown, one ear folded. Ash stayed downwind. His old instincts recognized the objects before his wolf senses understood them. Metal cup, stove fuel, matches, blanket, food sealed in paper. For several minutes, the scene hurt more than hunger had. It was ordinary humanity at a distance. People complained about rain. One laughed because the coffee tasted terrible. The dog lifted its head whenever the fire popped and went back to sleep. Ash could have stepped into view. The thought arrived whole. A wolf pup approaching a human camp might be fed. It might be caught. It might be chased. Someone might decide he was abandoned and take him somewhere safer than wet roots. Safer for whom was the question. Ash remembered the apartment, the bus, the store, words exchanged without effort. He wanted a human voice directed at him so badly that his paws shifted forward before he noticed. The camp dog stood. Its nose turned toward the trees. Ash stopped. The animal did not bark immediately. It stared into the dark, uncertain. One hiker noticed. "What is it, Ben?" The dog took 2 steps toward Ash's cover. The man reached for a flashlight. Ash backed away. The dog barked. Light swept the ferns a second after Ash moved. There. The hikers stood. Ash ran. No one shot. No one chased far. The dog followed only to the edge of the camp before a human called it back. Ash kept running until the smoke faded. He stopped beside a fallen pine, chest heaving. Nothing terrible had happened. That almost made the decision harder. The humans had not looked cruel. The dog had obeyed without sounding afraid. The fire had meant warmth. Ash still knew he had been right to leave. He did not know those people. They did not know him. A desperate need to hear language was not enough reason to surrender control of his body to strangers. That night, rain returned. The cold made the human fire feel like a mistake. Ash curled beneath bark and imagined the heat. He could have gone back. He stayed. The next morning, he returned only after the campers had left. The fire pit was cold. A few crumbs remained near a stone. Ash ate one piece of bread and left the rest when he smelled soap from the human's hands. The dog had scratched the earth where it first detected him. Ash sniffed the mark. No hostility remained in the scent, curiosity, alertness. familiar obedience to people. Ash thought about the fox and hound he had been hearing farther south. The young hound belonged to humans too, judging by the smells that clung to him whenever Ash caught the trail. That did not make the hound the same as the camp dog. Individual first, pattern second. Ash carried the distinction away. The fire had shown him that his human past could become a danger of its own if nostalgia made every familiar thing look safe. It had also shown him the opposite danger, turning every human into a threat because he could no longer speak to them normally. He needed distance long enough for evidence. That became the rule he followed when Todd and Copper finally met him. Copper smelled like a yard, leather and people. Ash did not run. He watched. Todd smelled like fox and mischief. Ash did not assume predator. He watched. The two young animals made room. Ash approached because their behavior earned another step. The campfire had taught him how. Asterisk Chapter 4. A Fox and a Hound asterisk. Ash saw the fox before the hound. The red shape moved between fern stems, quick and careless, carrying a stolen feather. Behind it came a young hound with oversized paws and a bark that broke into laughter halfway through. They were not hunting each other. They were playing. Ash watched from a root while the fox dropped the feather and darted around a stump. The hound charged, missed, and rolled into the leaves. The fox returned immediately instead of running away. Their scents were different, but their joy moved in the same direction. The fox noticed Ash first. It stopped with one paw lifted. The hound's ears came up. Ash made himself smaller, though he was already small enough to fit beneath the hound's chest. The fox crept closer and sniffed his muzzle. "You smell like rain," the fox said. Ash answered with a cautious growl. "That means he can talk," the hound said. "Can you chase?" The fox flicked its tail. "Copper, don't frighten him." Ash did not know which name belonged to which body until the hound bounced sideways and the fox chased after him. Todd was the fox. Copper was the hound. Their friendship was already complete enough to include someone else without breaking. Ash followed at a distance. He did not replace the fox's companion. He became the third set of paws circling the stump. When the game ended, Copper leaned against Todd, and Todd leaned back. Ash lay beside them, close enough to feel warmth and far enough to leave if the woods demanded it. Todd's tail wagged before he spoke, and Copper answered with a clumsy bow. Ash kept his distance until the two friends made room for him. That invitation mattered more than their noise. By nightfall, Ash knew where his friends slept. Todd approached Ash as if every stranger had been placed in the forest, specifically to improve his afternoon. Copper followed because Todd did. Ash found both habits alarming. The fox circled first. "You really do smell like rain." Ash kept his body low. "You said that already." Todd's ears shot up. Copper's jaw opened. "You do talk." Ash looked between them. Was that uncertain? Copper bounced once. "I thought maybe you just growled words." "That is talking, Copper." The hound looked offended. Ash almost laughed. The sound escaped anyway. Todd immediately pounced on the weakness. "You laugh funny." Ash showed teeth. "So do you." That was enough to begin a contest neither had defined. Todd ran. Ash chased. Copper chased both. The forest that had been frightening at every step turned into moving obstacles. Roots. Brush. A fallen branch Todd slipped beneath. Ash jumped. Copper tried the same jump and hit the branch chest first. He rolled. Todd stopped laughing long enough to return and check him. Ash noticed. The fox's teasing had a boundary. Copper sneezed dirt. "I meant to do that." "Of course," Todd said. Ash said, "Do it again." Copper stared. Todd collapsed laughing. They spent the afternoon inventing rules. No biting hard. No running toward the farm. If one animal stopped, the others stopped. Todd broke that last rule twice because he did not notice. Ash corrected him with a shoulder check. Copper learned faster because he hated being left behind. The games taught Ash things his solitary survival had not. Ash had the best nose for danger and the strongest instinct to pause. Todd hated pausing. Copper hated losing. Ash hated admitting he enjoyed any of it. Near the creek, Todd found a smooth stone and rolled it toward Ash. "What is your den like?" Ash's ears moved. "Why?" "Because I told you where mine is. You told me Widow's yard exists." "Same thing." "No." Copper sat beside Todd. "I sleep near Chief." Ash looked. "The old Hound." Copper nodded. "You met him." "Smelled." Copper seemed proud Chief was recognizable by scent. Then stopped. Copper already belonged there. His idea of safety was different. Todd pointed nose toward Ash. "Your turn." Ash hesitated, then gave a rough direction toward the root hollow, not exact. "North of the creek, fallen cedar." Todd accepted. No demand for coordinates. That mattered. They walked there together, but Ash stopped them 20 paces away. Todd noticed. "You don't want us inside." "Not yet." Copper looked hurt for exactly 1 second, then nodded. "Chief doesn't let everybody in his house either." Ash relaxed. Boundaries accepted without argument. Another unfamiliar kind of safety. He showed them the outer shelter instead. Todd inspected leaves. "This is terrible." Ash stared. "I survived 3 nights. Still terrible." The fox immediately began dragging dry grass. Copper copied. Ash watched in disbelief. "What are you doing?" "Fixing it." "I didn't ask." Todd dropped grass. "Do you want it?" Ash looked at the improved nest. "Yes." "Then stop complaining." Copper nodded solemnly. "Todd is good at fixing things he insults." Todd threw grass at him. The 3 rebuilt. Not a den. A resting hollow. Todd found bark. Copper brought a branch too large to fit. Ash widened the back. By dusk, it was warmer than before. Ash sat inside, while the others remained at entrance. They had helped without claiming. That confused him. Todd yawned. Copper's ears drooped. Human scent strengthened as evening air cooled. The farm would be calling. Todd turned toward Widow's property too. Ash felt the day ending. He wanted to say stay. Did not. "Tomorrow." Todd grinned. "Obviously." Copper barked agreement. They left. Ash listened until their footsteps separated. Fox toward one human home. Hound toward another. Different paths. Same promise. He slept in the improved hollow and discovered that loneliness felt worse after learning the alternative. The next morning, he woke before sunrise and waited near the creek. He told himself he was checking tracks. Todd arrived first. Copper arrived second. Neither mentioned that Ash had been early. The first meal Ash shared with Todd and Copper was not hunted. Todd stole an apple. Copper found it hilarious. Ash found it suspicious. "Where?" Todd pointed toward Widow's property. Ash stared. Todd immediately defended himself. "It was on the ground. Inside the yard." Near the yard. Copper said. It was inside. Todd glared at the traitor. Ash did not return the apple. The humans would not know which animal took one fallen fruit, and carrying it back created more risk. They split it. Todd ate the core. Copper hated the seeds. The important part came after. Todd offered first bite to Ash, not because Ash was stronger, but because he was new. Copper then shoved his piece toward Todd, when Fox finished too quickly. No dominance order. No one guarded food. Ash had spent days eating every meal alone, with his body tense over scraps. Sharing felt unsafe at first. He expected one of them to grab his portion. They didn't. By the time the apple was gone, Ash had learned another kind of abundance. A small meal could feel larger when nobody had to defend it. Years later, common caches in his pack would carry a distant trace of that first apple, even though no wolf then knew the story unless Ash chose to tell it. Asterisk Chapter 5. 3 Kinds of Play. Todd taught Ash to play by cheating. He ran toward the creek, doubled back under a branch, and stole the feather Copper had been carrying. Copper taught Ash to play by making noise. He barked at leaves, stones, and his own reflection in the water. Ash taught them both to stop when the wind changed. They were crossing a meadow when Ash caught the scent of a hawk. Todd froze first, but Copper kept chasing a grasshopper. Ash lunged, knocked Copper sideways, and dragged him beneath a bush as the shadow passed over the grass. Copper's heart hammered against Ash's shoulder. Todd crouched beside them, suddenly quiet. The hawk circled once and moved on. "You could have warned us," Todd whispered. Ash stared at him. "He did warn us," Copper said. "He used your tail." Ash looked behind him. His tail had puffed into a grey brush. Todd began laughing. Copper joined him. Ash tried not to, failed, and made a strange choking sound that sent all three into the grass. At sunset, the fox and hound returned to their usual paths. Ash followed until the human scent grew strong near the farm. Copper stopped. Todd looked at Ash. The three friends shared the same ground for one more breath before different fears pulled them home. The games ended only when the light failed. Ash slept with dirt between his toes and the pleasant ache of a body that had spent the day learning what the others already knew. The next morning, they would invent another game. Play became training before any of them understood the word. Todd discovered the first useful rule. If I can't see you, you can't catch me. He vanished under brush. Ash followed scent instead. Caught him immediately. Todd objected. "That's cheating. You smell. So do you." Copper barked. "You both smell." The argument lasted longer than the chase. Then Copper created his game. He carried a stick and dared the others to take it. Todd used speed. Ash used position. Copper learned to turn his shoulders, so his larger body blocked both. Within days, all three improved. Todd stopped relying only on speed. Copper learned not to commit his whole weight. Ash learned to trust movement without analyzing every route. The hawk incident changed the games further. After Ash knocked Copper beneath brush, he made them both lie still until the shadow passed. I could have outrun it. Ash looked at him. Up. Todd closed his mouth. I almost caught the grasshopper. No. It was close. No. Todd laughed. They practiced warning signals after. Todd's tail snap meant stop. Copper's low bark meant human. Ash's ears flattening meant sky or sent danger. Not formal. Just habits. One afternoon, Copper barked low during a chase. Todd stopped instantly. Ash too. A woman walked the far trail with a basket. She never saw them. Todd looked proud. I did it. Copper stared. That was my bark. You stopped when I stopped. Ash interrupted before the argument restarted. It worked. They accepted reluctantly. The meadow became their favorite place because it offered room without human scent. Ash taught them wind. Stand still. Turn nose. Separate smells. Todd got bored after 10 seconds. Copper sneezed. Again. By the 5th attempt, Todd identified rabbit. Copper identified farm smoke. Ash identified rain before clouds reached them. Todd looked at sky. That's unfair. Ash smiled. Everything useful is unfair when you don't have it. They raced the storm home. Rain caught them at the creek. Copper splashed, deliberately this time. Todd retaliated. Ash tried to stay dry and failed because both attacked him. For several minutes, survival did not matter. No hunger. No trap. No old life. Only cold water and terrible friends. Ash laughed until his sides hurt. Then Copper stopped. His ears turned. A whistle. Far. Human. His body responded before his face. Head up. Paws toward farm. Todd saw. The fox's joy dimmed. I have to go. Ash noticed the words. Not want. Have. Todd looked away. Tomorrow. Copper hesitated. Maybe. The whistle came again. Sharper. Copper ran. Todd watched. Ash smelled his disappointment. He did not know enough yet to explain human training or obligation. He remembered supervisors, schedules, keys, doors, commands that did not feel like chains because everyone around you obeyed them. Copper's world was different, but not alien. Todd kicked water. He's always going back. He lives there. So, Ash looked at him. So living somewhere matters. Todd's ears flattened. Widow Tweed's home mattered to him too. He understood. They walked together after. At the old fence, Todd stopped. My house is there. Ash nodded. You're not coming. Human scent. Chickens. Dog. Ash shook head. Todd accepted. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. Todd went. Ash remained alone. The day had shown him something difficult. Friendship did not erase other loyalties. If they were going to remain friends, they needed room for all three truths. That night, he added another sleeping hollow near the creek. Not a den. He dragged dry grass, then laughed at himself. Todd had made him care about bedding. The next afternoon, when both arrived, Copper dropped a piece of cloth from the farm into the hollow. For warmth. Todd added feathers. Ash looked at the ridiculous pile. Terrible. Todd grinned. You're learning. They slept there until evening. 3 different scents mixed in one small shelter. When the whistle came, Copper left. When Widow called, Todd left. Ash stayed. The hollow kept all 3 scents until morning. The 3 friends eventually invented a game called Wrong Trail. Todd named it. Copper complained that the name was unfair because every trail looked wrong once Todd had touched it. Ash set the rules. One animal created a short route through the woods. The other 2 waited out of sight, then tried to reconstruct where the first had gone. Todd was brilliant at confusion. Ash used both. The game became competitive enough that they began keeping informal victories. Todd counted loudly and dishonestly. Copper protested every score. Ash pretended not to care and remembered all of them. One afternoon, Copper disappeared so completely that both Ash and Todd thought he had returned to the farm. They searched the creek, meadow, and old hollow. No Copper. Then a bark erupted behind them. The hound had hidden inside a pile of leaves beside a log and somehow held still for nearly 10 minutes. Todd screamed. Ash leaped sideways. Copper rolled out laughing. Best one. Todd tackled him. Ash joined. The game later saved them when a farm dog followed their scent toward the meadow. Todd laid a false route toward the creek. Copper doubled through human scent near the fence, and Ash led the real escape across stones. They had practiced without knowing what they were practicing for. That realization changed how Ash thought about play. The value was not that every game secretly served survival. The value was that bodies learned through joy. Turning, stopping, watching, trusting. Ash stopped trying to separate useful time from wasted time so sharply. Sometimes the three ran because running was fun. Sometimes they lay in grass, doing nothing while clouds passed. Those hours did not make them weaker. They made the friendship something worth surviving for. Asterisk Chapter 6. The creek has ears. The creek had ears because water carried every mistake. Ash learned that when Copper slipped from a bank and splashed into a pool deeper than his legs, Todd shouted from the stones. Ash jumped without thinking. The current dragged both animals toward a tangle of roots. Ash caught Copper's collar in his teeth and kicked hard. The hound panicked, flailing against him. Ash released the collar, circled downstream, and pushed Copper toward a shallow shelf. Todd ran along the bank, barking directions neither of them could follow but refusing to stop. They reached mud together. Copper coughed water. Ash shook so hard his paws struck the stones. Todd pressed against his side. You jumped before looking, Todd said. Ash lowered his ears. He also found the shelf, Copper answered. I wouldn't have. The three rested beneath a willow while the storm moved away. Ash studied the creek. The water hid depth, carried scent, and turned a small mistake into a long struggle. Todd tossed a leaf into the current and tried to guess where it would emerge. Copper chased it along the bank. Ash watched the bends. When they left, Ash chose the higher route. Todd complained that it was slower. Copper supported Ash. The argument ended when the high route passed a hawk nest and the low route crossed human boot prints. Ash did not say I told you so. He only kept moving between his two friends, carrying the memory of cold water in his fur. The creek remained loud behind them as they climbed. The creek became a classroom because none of them respected it enough at first. The rescue changed all three. 2 days after Copper fell in, Ash brought them back deliberately. Copper stopped at the bank. Todd noticed. You scared? No. Copper's tail remained low. Ash stepped into the shallows. Then learn. The hound bristled at the command. Ash softened it. I had to learn too. That helped. They started where water barely covered paws. Step. Stop. Feel current. Copper hated the slow pace. Todd danced across stones until one rolled and dropped him chest deep. Copper laughed so hard he forgot fear. Then Todd climbed out, looking offended by physics. The next lesson was scent. Water erased some trails and magnified others. Ash dragged a pinecone along one bank, crossed upstream and hid. Todd followed visible marks and lost him. Copper used nose, found where scent entered water, then followed the wrong side downstream. Ash emerged behind. Both wrong. Todd accused him of inventing rules after winning. Ash smiled. The next round, Copper hid. His farm smell clung to brush so strongly that Ash found him almost immediately. Todd did too. Copper objected. You smell like people, Todd said. Copper looked down. Not shame exactly. Awareness. The Hound had begun carrying home with him everywhere. Ash saw the discomfort and changed subject. Use it. Copper looked up. Ash explained by moving downwind and letting the familiar human scent cover his own weaker wolf scent near the path. Copper understood. No trait needed be only weakness. They practiced swimming next. Ash hated it. His pup body floated badly until he stopped fighting. Copper had the most strength and the least technique. Ash showed him to kick behind instead of down. Copper made progress. Then a branch swept past, faster than expected. All three moved to bank immediately. Nobody tried to prove bravery against the current. At dusk, the creek quieted. Copper sat with wet fur plastered against his sides. I thought I was going to die. Todd stopped grooming. Ash looked. Copper had not said that after rescue. Now he did. So did I. Todd looked between them. I didn't. Copper stared. Todd's ears lowered. I thought you would get out. That was different. Todd moved closer. I'm sorry. Copper sniffed. For what? For not knowing. Ash watched. No grand forgiveness needed. Copper leaned against Todd. Done. They walked upstream before separating. At the willow, Ash noticed paw marks from another animal beside the water. Coyote. Adult. Fresh. He stopped. Todd nearly bumped him. Copper smelled. All three became still. The creek had brought another lesson. Their playground was not theirs. No challenge. No chase. When they returned, he showed them the prints again. Remember. Why? Because next time it may not leave. Copper looked toward farm. Chief would chase it. Ash looked at the trail. Chief is bigger. That was enough. They parted earlier than usual. Ash slept near Creek Hollow, with ears turning at every noise. That distinction became one of the first things Ash learned to teach, instead of merely survive. The creek eventually became the place where the three friends learned how to ask for help without turning it into shame. Copper was first. A thorn lodged deep between his pads after a chase. He tried biting it out. Todd offered. Copper pulled away. Ash watched. Why? Copper glared at Paw. I can do it. The thorn remained. Todd sat. Okay. No teasing. Copper tried again. Failed. Then pushed Paw toward Todd. The fox used smaller teeth carefully and pulled the thorn loose. Copper licked Paw. Thanks. You owe me your next biscuit. Copper tackled him. Shame gone. Ash learned. The Hound looked delighted. Can't do it. Ash regretted everything. Still held still. Copper removed. Todd laughed. Reciprocity made weakness ordinary. Not one animal, always rescuer. Copper returned to the creek alone one evening after Chief had kept him at the farm for most of the day. Todd had already gone home. Ash was drinking from the shallows. Copper sat on the bank without joining him. Ash finished and waited. Copper said, Chief says I have to stop acting like a pup. Ash looked at the Hound's oversized paws. You're still a pup. Not for hunting. There it was again. Different clocks inside one life. Copper could still roll in leaves with Todd and be expected to stand still beside gunfire at home. Ash climbed onto the bank. What does Chief mean? Copper scratched at mud. Listen faster. Stop chasing everything. Stay when Amos says stay. Ash thought about the creek rescue. Staying could be deadly in one place and useful in another. Chief is teaching for farm. Copper looked up. You don't think he's right. I think he knows that world. And you know this one. Some. Copper stared at the water. Then I have two worlds. Yes. Which one is me? Ash answered without thinking. Both. Copper went still. The answer seemed to settle something. He stood and entered the water carefully, testing every step the way Ash had taught after the accident. The hound still hated deep current. He crossed anyway. On the far side, he shook himself violently enough to soak Ash. Ash growled. Copper barked laughter. For one evening, being trained and being playful did not compete. They existed inside the same dog. Asterisk Chapter 7, The Farm Fence. The farm fence smelled of dogs, iron, and old fear. Todd had dared Copper to crawl beneath it. Copper had accepted before remembering that the fence marked the edge of Widow Tweed's yard. Ash found the gap first. He also found the wire hidden in the grass. The trap was not meant for a pup. It was meant for a fox, and the teeth of it waited beneath a leaf. Todd backed away. Copper stared at the wire. I can jump, the hound said. You can land on the other side, Todd answered. That isn't the same thing. Ash scraped dirt over the trap with both paws. The wire disappeared beneath mud. Copper crawled through. Todd followed. Ash came last and felt the iron brush his flank without closing. A dog barked from the yard. Copper froze. The scent of human leather approached. Todd bolted toward the creek. Ash shoved Copper after him and followed as the farm dog burst through the fence. They reached the woods with the dog barking behind them. Copper looked back once. A woman called the hound's name from the yard. Copper's paws turned toward the sound before he forced them forward. Ash noticed. Todd noticed too. The game had ended, but no one said so. They returned to the creek in silence, carrying the farm's boundary in their noses. The farm remained beyond the fence, bright with human smells and dangerous metal. Ash marked the place in memory and led the others away before curiosity became a wound. No one crossed the fence again that day. Todd was the one who found the second trap. He stopped so abruptly Copper ran into him. Ash came up behind. A wire loop lay half hidden beneath grass near the fence. Not sprung. Fresh human scent. Todd stared at it. Same kind. Similar. Ash circled without touching. The first snare he had seen was older and rusted. This one smelled of oil and hands from that morning. Someone checked these. That made the farm boundary active, not abandoned danger. Copper sniffed. Amos. Todd's ears went back. Widow Tweed's place and Amos Slade's property sat close enough that smells overlapped in the young animal's world. He said so. Copper looked surprised. You don't know. No. Todd tilted head. Admitting uncertainty felt important. They backed away. Then Todd did something reckless. He picked up a stick and threw it at the snare. The wire snapped shut around wood. All three jumped. Copper barked. Ash growled. Todd looked proud. Now it can't get us. Ash stared. Someone will reset. Todd's pride faded. That was the deeper problem with traps. Disarming one did not remove the person maintaining them. Ash studied the spring. But teaching Todd and Copper to tamper with human traps might encourage them to approach more. He chose another tactic. Mark the scent. Remember shape. Avoid. They walked the fence line together and found 3 more. One hidden under leaves. One beside chicken trail. One old and broken. Ash made them stop before each. Copper began finding metal smell before Ash. Todd found disturbed leaves. Different senses. A shared map. Then Chief appeared beyond fence. He did not bark. The old hound watched them studying traps. Copper brightened. Chief. Chief's expression did not. You 3 are too close. Copper lowered slightly. Todd hid half behind Ash. Ash held. Chief came to fence. He looked at sprung snare. Who touched it? Todd opened mouth. Ash stepped forward. We did. Shared responsibility. Chief sniffed the stick. Humans don't like animals changing their tools. Animals don't like tools closing on legs. Chief's eyes narrowed. Copper looked horrified. Ash had spoken too sharply. But the old hound only sighed. You think every boundary is an argument. Ash thought. Most are. Chief looked toward farm. No, some are warnings. That line stayed. Do you know who set these? Chief paused. Some are Amos's. Some belong to trappers passing through. Useful. Why here? Foxes. Todd shrank. Chief saw. His expression changed slightly. Not kindness. Recognition of who stood at risk. Todd doesn't steal chickens anymore. Mostly. Ash nearly laughed at worst moment. Chief did not. Humans remember what their animals did last season longer than animals do. Todd looked offended. Ash understood. If you see fresh oil, go another way. Ash nodded. Advice. Not command. Chief turned. Can I stay? The old hound stopped. Until whistle. Copper's tail wagged. Permission. Chief left. Todd emerged fully. He hates me. No. Ash looked at the tracks Chief left. He worries about what happens when humans see you. Todd stared. Same thing. No. Todd was not convinced. They played farther from fence. Copper kept checking wind. When whistle came, he returned. Ash and Todd walked the creek. Do you think Chief would let Amos catch me? Hard question. Ash smelled water. I don't know. You always say that now. Because I don't. Todd kicked Pebble. Would you? Ash stopped. No. Todd looked. No caveat. No profit. No explanation. Ash realized the answer had arrived before analysis. That frightened him less than expected. Todd leaned his shoulder against Ash, then immediately shoved him into creek. Ash came up furious. Todd ran laughing. The boundary remained dangerous. Friendship made it personal. The farm fence became the first place where Ash, Todd, and Copper made a rule together. They sat on the forest side after escaping the farm dog, all 3 still panting. Todd blamed the dog. Copper blamed the fence. Ash blamed the decision to crawl under without checking the grass. Todd stared. That sounds like blaming us. It is. Copper's ears lowered. Ash continued before they took it as punishment. I did it too. That changed the tone. The 3 of them had entered because the adventure sounded harmless. The hidden wire had turned curiosity into danger. Todd looked back at the gap. So we never go there again. Copper protested immediately. My home is there. Ash shook his head. Not never. Todd frowned. Ash pointed his nose at the boundary. We check first. That became the rule. No crossing an unfamiliar human boundary without checking ground, wind, and exits. Todd added another. No dares across wire. Copper added one. If the farm dog barked, leave instead of trying to prove anything. Ash agreed. The rule belonged to all three because each had contributed part. He reached the same fence with a feather on the other side. Old version of the game would have sent him under instantly. He stopped, sniffed, walked the line, found a fresh loop hidden near the gap. Todd backed away without being told. Copper saw. So you can learn. Todd shoved him. Ash laughed. The danger remained, but the friendship had changed how they handled it. He remembered 3 young animals sitting in mud after a bad decision. Rules were often just scars remembered before they happened twice. Asterisk Chapter 8, Chief Smells Wolf. Chief smelled wolf before he saw Ash. The old hound emerged from behind the barn while Copper and Todd were arguing over a dead rabbit. Chief's muzzle lifted. His eyes narrowed. Ash stepped between the hound and the fox. Copper made a small sound in his throat, caught between greeting and warning. Move, pup, Chief said. Ash did not understand why the words felt like a command, even though they were not meant for him. He backed away. Todd slipped behind a bush. Copper stood in the open. Chief sniffed Copper's fur. You have been running with wild things. They are my friends, Copper said. Chief's gaze returned to Ash. Friends teach bad habits. The old hound did not attack. That made the moment worse. He walked a circle around Ash, measuring size, teeth, and the direction of his escape. Ash wanted to grow larger immediately. Instead, he kept his paws under him and did not bare his teeth. Chief turned away. If you are going to survive, learn which friendships can stand daylight. When he left, Todd emerged. Copper looked ashamed. Ash touched his nose to Copper's shoulder. The hound's scent carried human yard, old dog, and a worry too big for his young body. Chief's warning followed them through the grass. Ash did not mistake it for hatred. It was the sound of an older animal protecting the boundary he had been trusted to keep. Chief's scent stayed on the edge of the clearing. Chief's first real conversation with Ash happened without Copper or Todd. Ash had gone near the meadow before dawn because deer had crossed there overnight. Chief was waiting beside an old stump. The hound's scent arrived a heartbeat before his voice. You're getting larger. Ash stopped. So are you. Chief looked unimpressed. Chief sniffed the wind. No fox. Not today. No pup. Copper. Chief's ear moved. He is not a pup forever. Ash understood the warning inside the correction. Copper was becoming something. Hunting dog. Farm dog. Animal with obligations. Ash sat, keeping distance. Chief did too. That surprised. You don't trust me, Chief said. Ash considered. Not enough. Chief almost approved. You shouldn't. They listened to mourning. A crow. Farm gate. Distant hammer. You smell different from other wolves. Ash froze. How? Too many things. You move like you expect traps where there aren't any. Ash relaxed. Sometimes there are. Sometimes. Chief looked at old scar on his leg. I learned the same way. There. Common ground. Ash glanced. Chief noticed. Wire years ago. Human. Yes. Amos. Chief's head snapped. No. Ash accepted. People aren't one thing. Ash thought of Elias' old world. Supervisors. Neighbors. Drivers. The man he had saved. No, people weren't one thing. Neither were animals. Foxes aren't one thing either. Chief looked toward him. That what this is about? Partly. Chief sighed. Foxes steal chickens. Todd steals whatever isn't nailed down. Exactly. Ash almost smiled. That doesn't mean Amos is wrong to protect his birds. No. All right to shoot everything red. Ash looked. The admission surprised. Chief's gaze stayed ahead. You think old dogs don't notice anger? Ash said nothing. Chief had lived with Amos longer than Copper. Loyalty did not mean blindness. That changed Ash's model. Copper likes Todd. And me. Chief looked. Yes. You disapprove. I think he'll be hurt. Not corrupted. Hurt. Ash's ears shifted. Why? Chief stood. Because humans teach dogs what to chase. Forest teaches wild things where to run. Sometimes those lessons point at each other. He walked away. Ash stayed. The line settled heavy. He had learned a scent trail. Chief says I'm good. Todd jumped around him. Find me. Copper covered eyes with paws. Todd ran. Ash watched. Copper counted badly, then tracked. He found Todd in minutes. Todd squealed. Again. Second round, Todd crossed creek. Copper still found. Third, Ash hid too. Copper smelled both and chose Todd first. Then Ash. Tracking became game. Ash joined despite Chief's warning. Because denying skill would not erase it. He made Copper track, old scent versus fresh. Copper learned. Todd became impossible, doubling back. Ash hid in water to reduce scent. Copper adapted by finding exit track. That truth sat underneath laughter. Ash almost stopped. Then Chief's words returned. Lessons would come regardless. Friendship gave Copper another context for what scent meant. Not prey. Person. Friend. At sunset, Copper found Todd one last time under roots. He pounced. Todd yelped and laughed. He licked Fox's ear instead. Ash watched. Training had given a tool. Relationship taught restraint. But not nothing. When Copper left, Ash found Chief at edge. The old hound had watched too. Neither spoke. Chief turned toward farm. Ash toward forest. For once, the boundary between them felt less like opposition and more like two animals guarding different sides of the same problem. Chief began leaving lessons where Copper would find them rather than delivering them directly. A rabbit trail crossing old boot marks. A stick placed beside a hidden ditch. One morning, a length of harmless rope lay near the yard with Chief's scent beside it. Copper brought Ash and Todd to inspect from woods. Chief says smell before step. Todd looked. Chief wasn't here. Copper pointed nose at scent. He was. Ash understood. The old hound was teaching through prepared problems because Amos's training taught commands while Forest needed judgment. They worked through rope. Todd saw visual. Copper scent. Ash angle. No trap. Then Chief emerged after. Too slow. Todd yelped. Copper barked. Ash laughed. Chief corrected each. Not like Alpha. Like old animal with scars. Why teach me if fox bad? Chief stared. Because a dead fox learns nothing. Todd took that as affection. Chief refused. Still, his actions broadened. The friendship triangle gained an older observer who did not approve yet invested in survival. Chapter 9. Hunger Lessons. Hunger taught Ash to hunt before he was ready. He found a rabbit trail, followed it through wet grass, and rushed too early. The rabbit turned. Ash hit a stump and lay stunned while Todd laughed from a safe distance. "You attacked the tree," Todd said. "The tree was suspicious," Ash replied. They tried again. Todd drove the rabbit toward the creek. Copper blocked the bank. Ash waited instead of chasing. When the rabbit turned back, Ash moved once, low and fast, and caught it. The kill left him shaking. Todd looked away. Copper stared at the rabbit and then at Ash. "We eat," Ash said. They did. Ash tore the meat into 3 portions. Todd swallowed quickly. Copper carried his share to a patch of shade. Ash expected guilt and found only the practical knowledge that hunger would return tomorrow. Afterward, Todd showed Ash where berries grew. Copper showed him the safest path back to the farm. The 3 friends built a hunting lesson from different instincts. Ash did not become less wild because he cared for them. He became more careful about what survival cost. The meal was small, but it had not been stolen. Ash carried that distinction back to the den, where Todd and Copper tore the last scraps apart and left no one watching from the dark. Ash slept with the taste of success still on his tongue. Ash's first clean kill did not make him proud. It made him quiet. The rabbit stopped struggling under his jaws. Warmth faded. His body knew exactly what to do next. Human memory did not. Elias had bought meat wrapped in plastic. The distance between hunger and death had been hidden by stores, labels, refrigerators. Now no distance existed. Ash stood over the rabbit and felt gratitude, discomfort, and appetite at once. Todd approached carefully. "Are we eating?" Ash nodded. Copper hung back. Todd tore first. Copper hesitated. Ash looked. "You don't have to." Copper's ears lifted. "Chief eats meat." "Not same." Copper's food came from bowls and scraps. Not animals he watched die. "Choice." Copper stepped forward anyway. He took small bite. Chewed. No transformation. No loss of innocence, dramatic enough to see. Just a young hound learning food had once been alive. "Does it bother you?" Ash swallowed. "Yes." Todd looked surprised. "Then why hunt?" "Hunger. That's simple." "No." They ate. After, Ash buried remains. Not because forest required ritual. Because leaving blood near resting place attracted predators. Practical action carrying emotional weight. Copper helped push soil. Todd placed a leaf on top. Ash stared. "What?" Todd shrugged. "Looks nicer. Berries. Mice. Carrion. Eggs only from abandoned nests." Todd wanted to raid chicken coop. Ash refused. Copper supported. Todd accused them of becoming old. Ash pointed toward fence traps. Todd stopped. Cost remembered. Not morality against stealing. Survival. Still, it reduced raids. One cold day, food scarce, Todd found an unattended basket near picnic path. Bread. Apples. Cheese. No human nearby. He looked at Ash. Ash smelled distance. Family voices down trail. Todd took one. Ash didn't stop. Copper took nothing. They left before humans returned. The next week, basket had lid. Pattern adapted. Todd laughed. "See, they learned." Ash looked at lid. "So did we. Do not return." The forest supported them if they learned. They practiced hunting as Team More. Todd flash, Copper block, Ash ambush. But Copper's size and bark sometimes scared prey too early. He learned wait. Todd learned not to chase after missed strike. Ash learned not every hunt must succeed. This was hardest. Human achievement habits whispered, optimize, improve, correct. Forest answered with randomness. Wind shifts. Branches break. Prey changes. A failed hunt might still be correctly executed. Distinguishing bad luck from bad choice became essential. This made him less harsh with himself and with others. When Copper scared a rabbit accidentally by sneezing, Todd mocked. Ash didn't. No decision caused sneeze. Next hunt, Todd chased after lost prey into thorn and cut paw. That was decision. Ash corrected. You kept going after it was gone. Todd bristled. I almost had it. No. Todd hated. But next time, he stopped earlier. Learning. At night, Ash lay in Creek Hollow and thought about Elia's fixing billing errors. A life of systems. Now survival had systems too. Difference was Forrest did not care whether he believed rules fair. Do not waste life taken. Do not romanticize hunger. He did not know if wolves thought like this. He did. That was enough. When the next rabbit died quickly, Ash ate without shaking. Not because death mattered less. Hunger required cost. Respect did not mean refusing to eat. It meant seeing what eating was. The rabbit hunt became a turning point for Copper because he had never seen Ash pause after killing. Todd noticed too. The fox had expected triumph or hunger. Instead, Ash stood still. Copper approached carefully. Are you hurt? No. Todd sniffed the rabbit. Then why are you standing like that? Ash looked at the body. Because it was alive. The answer confused both. Copper had eaten meat every day without seeing the life before it. Todd had hunted smaller animals, but rarely stopped to consider. Ash did not turn the moment into a lesson. He began dividing the meat. Todd watched his paws. Do you feel bad? Yes. Then don't eat. Ash met his eyes. I'm hungry. Todd frowned at the contradiction. Copper understood first. You can feel bad and still do it. Ash nodded. That stayed with all three. The forest was full of actions that were necessary without becoming pleasant. Todd carried it into stealing, realizing hunger did not make every raid harmless. After the meal, they buried what remained close enough to reclaim, but deep enough to reduce scavenger scent. Todd placed the leaf again. Copper added a twig. Ash almost mocked the ritual. He stopped. It mattered to them. That was enough. The three walked away, quieter than they had arrived. By the time they reached the creek, Todd was racing leaves again, and Copper was barking at his reflection. Life had resumed. The rabbit's death remained part of the day, without swallowing the whole day. Ash found that balance worth remembering. Asterisk Chapter 10, Winter Hollow. Winter came in one hard night. The creek froze at the edges, the grass turned white, and Ash's paws went numb before dawn. He followed Todd's scent to a hollow beneath a fallen oak and found the fox already curled against Copper's warm side. Copper opened one eye. You are cold. Snow covered the entrance. The three animals shared breath in the dark. Copper's body radiated heat. Todd's tail brushed Ash's nose. Ash listened to the forest become quiet under the storm. At noon, hunger forced them out. The usual paths were buried. Ash followed the scent of a mouse under the snow. Todd followed the sound of a bird, and Copper followed a distant human whistle. They argued until the three trails separated. Ash chose the mouse. Todd followed him. Copper hesitated, then came too. The mouse led them beneath a log where three smaller rodents had sheltered. They ate enough to keep moving. Todd slept beside Ash that night. Neither spoke about Copper. The empty space still carried his scent. Snow covered the old tracks before dawn. When Ash woke, the world had become blank enough to punish carelessness and beautiful enough to make the danger worth meeting. The den held against the dark until sunrise. For the first 3 days, yes. Then food ran low. Todd found a mouse and tried to hide half. Ash smelled it. Silence. Todd's ears flattened. I was saving it. For later. Yes. For who? Todd did not answer. Himself. Ash felt anger rise too fast. He had been hunting most. Copper returned to farm sometimes and came back less hungry. Todd was smaller, faster, needed less. Ash's wolf body demanded food constantly. The hidden mouse felt like betrayal larger than its size. He breathed. Ate it. Todd looked. Ash repeated. Ate. Todd swallowed quickly. We can find more. No punishment theater. They hunted. Failed. At dusk, Copper left toward farm after whistle. Todd watched him go with resentment. He'll eat. Probably. We won't. Ash looked. Todd's anger wasn't really at Copper. Hunger needed target. He's not taking ours. He leaves when it gets hard. The hound stopped beyond brush. Ash smelled. Todd saw too late. Copper returned. I have to go when Amos calls. Todd looked away. I don't like it. Todd's anger softened, not gone. Bring food. Copper froze. Stealing from farm. Risk. Todd instantly regretted. Never mind. Copper left. Next morning, he arrived with one biscuit hidden under collar. Ash stared. Todd stared. Copper put it down. I didn't steal. Then, Mrs. Tweed gave Amos extras. No, Copper belongs Amos, could have been fed. He saved his own piece. I didn't eat it. The biscuit belonged to his ration. He chose. Todd pushed half back. You eat. They split 3 ways. Tiny amount. Symbol heavier than calories. Ash disliked symbols when hungry. Still, the friendship survived. Winter forced other innovations. They dug under snow for mice. Followed birdseed near human yards without crossing fences. Found frozen apples beneath old tree. Ash learned to crack ice at Shallow Creek by striking with paws, not standing on thin surface. Copper's weight made ice dangerous. Todd tested edges. One afternoon, a snow crust collapsed under Ash and buried his front half. Todd dug face clear. Copper hauled scruff. Ash came out furious and embarrassed. No one laughed until he did. Then they laughed too much. The hollow itself improved. Ash packed snow around outer cracks. Todd stole dry straw from abandoned edge of field. Copper brought old burlap caught on fence. They nested. No ownership. The hollow smelled of 3 lives. At night, Copper's farm warmth made huge difference. Ash hated relying. He almost slept elsewhere once. Todd noticed. Where are you going? Other den. Why? Because dependence frightened him. Too crowded. Todd stared at empty space. Copper rolled over, making more room. There. Ash's lie collapsed. He returned. That night, warmth came from bodies he did not control. He survived anyway. This taught a harder lesson than traps. Dependence was not automatically weakness. Chosen reliance with awareness was part of living. Ash did not formulate it beautifully. He just stopped leaving the hollow when embarrassed by needing them. Toward winter's end, Copper stayed away longer. Training. Human demands. Todd grew restless. Ash ranged farther. The hollow kept Copper's sent days after last visit. Todd slept in his usual place and sometimes placed paw in empty space. Ash never mentioned. When Copper finally returned, bigger, collar stronger, Todd tackled him so hard all three rolled into snow. Ash joined. For one afternoon, winter disappeared. Then Whistle came. Copper left again. Temporary warmth. Still real. Late in the winter, the hollow almost failed for a reason none of them had expected. Warmth. A short thaw softened the roof snow during the afternoon. At night, the temperature dropped hard again. The surface froze into a crust, trapping stale air in the narrow entrance. Ash woke with a headache and the sense that the hollow smelled wrong. Copper was still asleep. Todd's breathing sounded too slow. Ash lifted his nose. The opening was almost sealed. He dug immediately. Snow crust was hard enough to cut his paws. Copper woke and helped from inside, pushing with shoulders. Todd crawled toward the smallest gap and began scratching. Ash lay in snow panting. Copper sneezed. Todd rolled onto his back. That was terrible. Ash looked at the two openings. Two exits again. Not only for predators. Air. Flood. Collapse. The principle became deeper than one badger den. Chief said winter shelters needed high vent. Todd mocked old dog until Ash made him dig one. They maintained small breathing gap thereafter. This was one more thing the three built together that no one owned. When Thor returned fully, the hollow sagged and became unusable. Todd wanted repair. Copper too. Ash looked at wet structure. No. Todd stared. We made it. Yes. So fix. It's done. This was hard. A place can matter and still become unsafe. They carried out the burlap, feathers, one smooth stick Copper liked. Then left hollow to collapse naturally. Todd was angry for a day. Copper kept looking back. Ash also. Loss made improvement possible without making old place worthless. Childhood had taught relocation before he had words for leadership. The end of winter brought one afternoon warm enough for the three friends to lie outside the hollow instead of inside it. Copper slept first. Todd rolled onto his back in the weak sun. Ash stayed awake, longer out of habit. The snowmelt dripped from branches in slow, regular taps. Nothing approached. No whistle. No hawk. No human scent. Ash finally put his head down. He woke to Todd, pressing a cold paw against his nose. Ash snapped upright. Todd fled laughing. Copper joined without knowing why. The chase crossed soft snow and ended with all three exhausted beside the creek. Ash realized he had slept deeply enough not to hear Todd approach. A month earlier, that would have frightened him. Now it felt like evidence. He trusted the two animals around him enough for his body to rest. Trust had entered through repetition rather than one decision. Copper never attacked him in sleep. Todd never stole food from beneath his paws. When danger came, one of them warned. When one left, the others did not punish the return. The winter hollow had taught warmth, hunger, and dependence. Its final lesson was simpler. Safety sometimes felt like being unconscious beside someone else and waking to a stupid joke instead of teeth. Asterisk Chapter 11. Tracks Beyond the Ridge asterisk. Ash found the tracks beyond the ridge after the snow melted. 4 wolves had crossed the mud. Adult paws, steady spacing, no wasted movement. Their scent was older than him and carried the rich confidence of animals that belonged somewhere. He followed until the wind changed. A growl answered from the trees. Ash stopped. A grey wolf stepped onto the ridge with 2 others behind him. The wolf approached, sniffed his ears, and found no adult scent. Go back, little Ash. The range beyond this ridge is not kind to the unclaimed. Ash held his ground for 1 breath, then retreated. The wolves did not chase him. Their restraint felt like rejection because it was sensible. He returned to the creek and found Todd waiting with a stolen apple. Copper was absent. Todd offered half. Ash ate without mentioning the wolves. That night, Ash practiced marking his own boundary. It was small. It had no protection except his teeth and the fact that no one had yet challenged it. He slept inside the scent line and dreamed of larger paws walking away. The ridge kept its secret beneath the moon. Ash returned to the ridge 3 mornings after the strange pack left. Not to follow, to see what they had left. The tracks were softer now, edges broken by wind and squirrels. Their scent remained strongest beside a pine where the lead wolf had marked. Ash stopped several body lengths away. His own body wanted to answer. Mark over. Challenge. He did neither. This was not his range. He studied. 5 wolves. 1 smaller. 1 with an old limp. The smallest had walked inside the line most of the time, protected position. The limping wolf had not been left behind. Pack movement made patterns solitude never needed. Ash walked parallel to old trail without stepping directly into it. He found where they had rested. Flattened grass. Bones from hair. A circle of scent. No single wolf had slept far enough away to disappear unnoticed. He sat outside the circle. The longing returned. Pack was not only warmth. It was information, redundancy. Another nose. Another set of ears. Someone awake while you slept. Someone to notice when you limped. Ash's human mind appreciated the system. His young wolf body appreciated something simpler. Company. He hated admitting the second. A sound came downhill. Ash stood. The grey female from before appeared alone. Not the leader. She stopped. No aggression. Ash lowered head slightly. Respect without surrender. She sniffed. You came back. So did you. Her ears moved. Why? Ash glanced at old sleeping circle. To learn. The wolf approached enough that her scent separated. Milk. Pubs. Scar tissue. Pine. Learning from tracks is slower than asking. Questions can be expensive. Only if badly asked. Ash almost smiled. What does your pack do with lone wolves? Depends on lone wolf. Helpful. Accurate. She sat. Ash stayed standing. Where is your mother? Ash's chest tightened. Dead. I don't know. The grey female watched him. No scent. None I recognize. How long alone? Long enough. She looked at his ribs, coat, paws. He had survived, but thin. You ran with fox and dog. Ash froze. She had smelled. Friends. Odd. Yes. Dog belongs humans. Yes. Fox steals. Yes. And wolf. Ash looked. Still deciding. That answer amused her. She told her name, Sable. Not leader. Scout and mother of pups. The pack ranged north and west. They tolerated Ash near Ridge if he did not follow Den's scent or hunt from their kills. Clear boundaries. Ash accepted. You want join. The directness hurt. Ash's first answer was yes. He did not speak it. Todd. Copper. Creek. His own small range. I don't know. Sable nodded. Better than yes, because cold. Ash looked. She understood loneliness. She rose. Come to Ridge after moon change. Leader may let you walk one hunt. Why? Because a wolf who survives alone without becoming stupid might be useful. Ash preferred. Sable left. He did not follow. Back at Creek, Todd had found another apple. Copper absent. Todd smelled wolf on Ash immediately. You found them. Ash nodded. Are you leaving? No greeting. Fear direct. Ash said. Not today. Todd stared. That's not no. No. Foxtail went still. He did not. I want to know them. Todd looked toward north. Why? Ash searched. Because I'm a wolf. Ash moved closer. And you're my friend. Todd did not answer. The two facts sat badly together. Ash ate. At sunset, Copper arrived late. Todd immediately told him. Ash has another pack. Ash groaned. Copper's face fell. No. I met wolves. Are you going? Not now. Copper sat beside Todd. Two young faces watching. Ash realized pack choice would never be only his emotionally, even if it remained his physically. That was the cost of bonds. If I walk with them, I come back. Promise. Ash thought of promises and traps. Then chose. Yes. A limited promise. Come back after one hunt. Todd relaxed. Copper leaned into Ash hard enough to push him sideways. They played until dark. The ridge remained north. A possibility. The pup stayed behind her and stared at Ash with enormous caution. Ash remained outside the old scent circle. Sable said he wanted to see the lone wolf who keeps foxes. Ash looked at the pup. I don't keep foxes. The pup whispered, he said you do. Sable says many things. Sable's ears twitched. The pup smiled. That tiny reaction changed the meeting. Ash lowered himself slightly so his size mattered less. The pup approached 2 steps, then stopped. Fox scent clung faintly to Ash from Todd. Hound scent too. The pup sniffed. Why don't they bite you? Sometimes Todd does. Sable snorted. Ash continued. They know me. The pup thought about that. Can anything be friend? Ash looked at Sable. She let him answer. Not anything, not immediately. He pointed with nose toward the ridge. You start with distance, then behavior, then time. The pup seemed disappointed that friendship required work. Ash understood. When young, he had wanted belonging to arrive, fully formed too. Then she sat beside Ash. You answered carefully. I didn't want him approaching the first dog he smells. Good. They watched leaves fall. Sable said Brand's pack would move farther north for winter. The ridge would be quiet. Ash felt a strange sadness. He was not part of them. Still, their presence had become one more stable point in the forest. When back? Spring, if food allows. No promise. Ash nodded. Before leaving, Sable marked the shared ridge and left his old side untouched. A boundary respected. Ash returned south, carrying something Bran had never given him, and Sable had taught without naming. Ash learned the difference between watching a pack and idealizing one when Bran's wolves argued over a carcass. From the ridge, the group had looked effortless. Up close, two younger wolves snapped over position. Fen growled when one stepped on his injured side. Sable shoved a pup away from the wrong piece. Bran ended the argument with a hard bark and a stare. The pack was coordinated because they had practiced living together, not because conflict had disappeared. Ash found that reassuring. A perfect pack would have made his loneliness feel like failure. A real pack contained irritation, injury, bad moods, and still moved together afterward. Bran caught Ash observing. Disappointed. No. Good. Ash smiled. He watched what happened after. Did wolves return? Did they repair? Did the next hunt still work? That was the measure Bran's pack had shown without ever claiming perfection. Asterisk Chapter 12. The Snare Asterisk. The snare caught Todd first. He yelped from the brush, and Ash heard the metal tighten before he saw the fox's paw pulled off the ground. Copper arrived from the farm path and froze at the human smell. Ash attacked the trap with his teeth. Iron cut his gums. Copper pulled the wire. Todd twisted in panic and made the snare worse. Stop moving, Ash growled. Todd went still. Ash scraped earth beneath the spring and pushed a stick into the mechanism. Copper found a second stick and braced it against the jaw. Together, they forced the trap open. The metal released. Todd fell against Ash. Copper licked blood from the fox's paw. A truck engine started on the road. They ran. The hunter's dog caught their scent and followed. Ash led them through a stream, Copper through a thicket, and Todd beneath a fallen fence. The dog remained close. Go, Ash said. Copper looked at both friends, then barked toward the yard. Chief answered. The dog turned back, confused by the command. Ash pulled Todd away before the hunter reached the creek. Copper's scent followed them as far as the water. It was the first time friendship had saved them and still left one of them behind. The torn branch remained beside the snare after they left. Ash made the young ones smell it, then stepped over it himself. Fear was useful when it became knowledge instead of panic. The wire never caught them there again. The second snare was not Todd's. It caught a young raccoon. Ash heard the metal thrashing from the trail and found the animal hanging by one hind leg, biting at wire and screaming. Todd arrived behind. The raccoon hissed at all. Leave, Todd said instinctively. Not cruel. Fear. Copper looked at Ash. Ash studied mechanism. Human scent old enough, no one nearby. The wire had cut skin, but not bone. Risk teeth. The raccoon snapped when Ash approached. He stopped. No rescue by force if rescued animal didn't understand. Ash circled and found spring steak. What are you doing? Opening. It'll bite. Probably. Then why? Ash looked. Because Todd had been trapped before. Because someday, one of them again. Practice. Todd frowned. Ash used branch. Pinned spring from distance. Copper braced branch with body. Todd, smallest, darted in and pulled loose loop using teeth. Raccoon dropped. Immediately attacked Todd. Ash intercepted shoulder. Teeth caught fur, not skin. Copper barked. Raccoon fled. Todd stared after. I hate practice. Ash laughed. They inspected trap. Todd's earlier trap had one lever point. This one different. Humans varied designs. Never assume. They sprung it harmlessly after. Ash made Copper smell oil. Todd disturbed leaf pattern. Then they left. Hunter. They hid high. A man walked trail, carrying traps. Not Amos. Different. He saw sprung wire. Swore. Reset. Exactly what Ash predicted. Ash shook. Avoidance and warning more sustainable than contest they couldn't win. Can Chief tell people? People don't speak dog. Copper looked offended. They understand some things. Copper thought. The Hound had communication with Amos through behavior. I can show, Chief. Ash nodded. Choice. Next morning, Chief came with Copper near fence and sniffed trap trail. The old Hound recognized human scent. Trapper from east. You know him? Ash asked. No smell. Does Amos? Chief looked. Yes. A chain of knowledge. Amos's voice won. Another man. Words beyond distance, but tone angry. Several snares gone. Copper arrived proud. Chief showed Amos. Todd blinked. You made humans remove traps. Copper puffed jest. Chief did. Ash smiled. Network. Each connection had unique leverage. He used word leverage only internally, then disliked it. Friendship was more than function. Still, function mattered. The lesson deepened when Todd's paw reopened. Old snare wound swollen after wet day. Copper wanted farm medicine. Todd refused human yard. Ash didn't force. He knew plants poorly. She used to take thorns out. So he did trust. The risk was Amos, not Widow. Ash helped Todd reach Widow's property when Amos absent. He stayed tree line. Todd limped into yard. Widow saw. She knelt. Called name. Todd hesitated, then approached. Human hands touched his paw. Ash's body tensed. But Todd relaxed. Widow cleaned wound. Wrapped cloth. Fed him. No trap. Copper watched from another edge, tail wagging. Ash had been treating human as category. Again, categories failed. One human set snares. One removed. One cared for fox. One hunted. Chief's earlier lesson, people aren't one thing. Ash stayed hidden because Widow might fear wolf. Todd returned smelling medicine and apples. She's nice. Ash nodded. You don't trust. I don't know her. She'd help you. Ash looked at human house. Elias had trusted strangers enough to step toward danger. Ash now distrusted strangers enough to survive. Maybe someday. Todd accepted. The snare had begun as metal. It ended as map of relationships. Ash was learning survival rarely belonged to one body. Todd's paw healed badly enough that he favored it during turns. He pretended otherwise. Ash watched him stumble twice. Copper noticed after third. You're limping. No. You are. Todd sprinted 3 steps to prove. Then stopped with face pinched. He had learned. They reduced chase games. Todd hated. So Copper invented scent game with no running. Identify objects hidden under leaves. Farm cloth. Pine cone. Rabbit fur. Old metal. Ash joined. The game became useful. Todd identified iron smell. Proud. The injury turned rest into another skill set. When he healed, they kept game. The distinction stayed with Todd after he healed. He recognized traps earlier and years later Ash carried the same scent games into the lessons he gave the pack's pups. Ash began seeing injury not only as loss of function. That didn't mean wounds were gifts. One evening, Widow Tweed saw Todd favor Paw and left food closer to Woods rather than calling him in. Todd took after waiting. Ash watched. Human care adapted too. She did not force touch. Todd no longer needed handling.